Hello and welcome to Undead Gaming News, your one-stop shop for all things gaming. I'm your host Zombie, and first up this week we have Starfield. In an interview with Bethesda's boss and Starfield director, Todd Howard, he said, "This one's ending up a little longer than the previous games, and we may tune that some still. It's more quests, so it might be 20% more than previous ones." And when asked about how many hours it will take to beat, he said, "It might be in the 30s, maybe 40. We've learned that people do play our games for a really long time." When asked about the Bethesda modding community, he said, "Certainly we're going to be doing extra content for this game and we love our modding community. We actually think this game, for our modding community, is going to be a dream, as there's so much they can do. And I'm sure there will be a lot of things to do in that game, but I'm sure it will also be a bit of a buggy mess when it launches, as is Bethesda's usual MO. But we also have Call of Duty in the news, as a new blog post from the Ricochet developers provides a new update since it first launched, where they outlined features of their anti-cheat system. One of them is known as Damage Shield, as it makes a cheater's gunfire do almost no damage to the player they're targeting. The reason it does any damage at all is so that the target gets a visual cue so that they can retaliate. Another one is called Cloaking. Everyone they hit becomes invisible to them and to their cheating software, leaving them running around levels filled with players that they can't see. There's also Disarm, which does exactly what you'd expect it to, as it takes away the cheater's weapons so that they can't fight whatsoever, not even in melee combat, and it seems that those developers are having quite a lot of fun seeing the reactions from cheaters not knowing what the hell's going on. We also have Overwatch 2, as a new Reddit AMA occurred recently, with Overwatch commercial lead John Spector taking the time to clarify a few points about what will happen to currency and loot boxes obtained in Overwatch when Overwatch 2 comes out, where he said, "We'll share a more detailed explanation of all of these topics before Overwatch 2 goes live in October. To give you a quick answer now though, those existing currencies will come with you into Overwatch 2. We are not transitioning loot boxes into Overwatch 2, and ahead of launch, any unopened loot boxes will be automatically opened with your account receiving all the contents directly. So in other words, don't worry about your currencies because that will be transferred over, and don't worry about your loot boxes because if you haven't opened them, they will be opened automatically and you'll get whatever's inside it put onto your account ready for Overwatch 2, which is all very good. However, I still don't see the point in Overwatch 2. Why did they not just do more seasons? Because it's basically the same game again anyway. But that's just my thought." We also have Sony apparently going to be skipping Gamescom this year. There's been reports saying that Sony has made the decision not to attend this year. While this has some people worried that they're not going to hear any news from them, particularly about God of War Ragnarok, I was not at all surprised, as they've been shifting to do more frequent state of plays anyway, including state of plays dedicated to particular games, so I wouldn't be surprised if they had one at the end of the month based around, or at least including God of War Ragnarok. Let's not forget, obviously, that Jason Schreier recently said that we should expect a release date for God of War Ragnarok at the end of the month. So, it really would not surprise me. I mean, they started doing state of plays on a frequent basis when the pandemic broke out, because obviously they couldn't go to any live events anymore because they weren't being hosted anymore. But now they are being hosted again. It seems that Sony still wants to stick with the state of plays, probably because it's more cost effective and they still get the same amount of marketing done, still get the same reach, if not better. Sticking with Sony though, the revamped PlayStation Plus has now launched in Europe, and a number of the classic PlayStation games are the 50 frames per second PAL versions, but apparently Sony will be bringing the option to switch to the 60 frames per second NTSC versions, but there's been no date for that given yet, and it's planned for Asia, Europe, Middle East, India, South Africa, Australia and New Zealand regions. North America already have the NTSC versions available, as far as I'm aware. We also have Final Fantasy XVI, as a new interview with Naoki Yoshida revealed some details about what to expect. He said the development of the team's goal is to bring in new people to the series by doing things differently than they were in the previous games, to bring a story that feels like it spans an entire globe and beyond. We decided to avoid an open world design that limits us to a single open world space, and instead focus on independent area-based game design that gives players a better feel of a truly global scale. I for one am interested to see exactly how that turns out. What are you? Let me know in the comment section below. And also, while you're down there, give me any other thoughts on any of the other topics mentioned this week, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.